Hey, oh goodness. The video on excuse me, on Facebook gets really close to my face. How's everyone doing? I'm gonna go live on Instagram at the same time, so give me a moment. Here we go. Sequencing principles. Alrighty. Are we live? I don't see anyone on Facebook yet. Welcome everyone. Live on Instagram and on Facebook. Today I would like to speak to you about sequencing principles, what they really are and how they can help you write, design and create or theme a yoga practice that is well-rounded for your students. Because as a teacher, you take on the responsibility of being a role model. Yeah, you're a guide, you're a mentor, you're a leader that helps their students on their personal yoga journey. And every journey is different, but you're there to inspire your students. The primary steps to growing your role as a yoga teacher are the development of your language and your communication. Right? For those that joined us for the English for Yoga Teachers course, you know all about this right now. But the way that you guide your students goes much further than just the way that you speak, the way that you use language, or that you communicate and interact with them. So today I would like to take it a step further and speak to you about sequencing principles. And I think that once you apply these, you will feel more confident leading and guiding your students, and your students much more benefit from the things that you're teaching them. So, welcome everyone. I see a lot of new faces, some people that I know already. Say hi in the chat, everybody, here on Instagram and on Facebook. And I would like to start today with a question as well. All right, the question is to help you reflect: how confident on a scale from 1 to 10, yes, scale from 1 to 10, 1 is not at all and 10 is super confident. How confident do you feel about creating a sequence? Yeah, on a scale from 1 to 10, not at all. 10 is very confident, super confident, couldn't be better. How confident do you feel? Hi Mario, hi Mohammed, so good to see you. 7, wow, that's actually really good. Really great to hear that. An 8, amazing. Well, I hope that this training for you will even benefit you. An 8 as well. Everybody keep writing in the comments. Because I asked this question when we previously started the Teach Yoga and English Journey in March. I asked this question to our students as well. And this is what they said. I've got four different replies for you. And I would like to hear if you may feel the same. So the teachers that I previously worked with, they said, I wish my sequences were more inspiring because they lack imagination. Yeah, or I always teach the same sequence because it's the only one that I know well. Another person said, I wish I knew how to theme my sequences so I could teach more than just asanas or just positions. And another answer was, I want to teach using more spiritual elements, but I feel stuck designing, putting all those elements together in a sequence. Does any of these thoughts apply to you? Is this how you feel about your sequences as well? Do they lack imagination? Would you like them to be more comprehensive? Would you like to be able to teach different things than always the same asanas? Write in the chat, everyone. What is it that you want to improve about your sequences? What would you like to get better at? What would you like to be able to provide so your students can benefit more from it? Or what would you like to improve so that you feel more confident teaching your sequences? Yeah, and I'm gonna tell you a little bit about my experience when I did my yoga teacher training. A different sequence, Donna says. Because I have to admit, when I finished my first yoga teacher training, these types of things were exactly what I thought as well. Because during yoga teacher training, I received a lot of information. I knew a little bit about everything, but I knew too little to actually feel ready to teach. And I felt extremely inadequate, and I thought it was really not fair yet to call myself a yoga teacher. Even though I completed yoga teacher training, I did not feel ready to say, I'm a yoga teacher now. So apart from knowing the right vocabulary to cue, to guide your students, to transfer your students from one to another asana, I felt in the beginning that my sequence lacked structure. And I improvised or I invented something, but actually did not know what I was doing. I had no idea of the benefits of the asanas and the effects of the asanas in certain orders. And all of that made me lack a lot of confidence in my teaching skills as a whole. Did you feel the same as well? I see that Andrea also felt that way. Yeah, you're not alone. And I believe that I'm not alone, Andrea is not alone. A lot of teachers feel this way because you're oversaturated with knowledge. And there's a lot of knowledge that you understand, but you do not feel ready yet to use. And that may make you feel inadequate. Even teaching the simplest things like a Surya Namaskar. And I think that to keep my promise to help you become a confident English-speaking yoga teacher, I need to teach you more than just language and communication. And for that reason, I've decided that on the Teach Yoga and English journey, apart from learning all the right words to cue effectively, or apart from learning all the expressions to speak about metaphorical things in your meditation classes, for example, our courses need much more than just language and communication. And to me, that means training and practice opportunities to improve your sequencing techniques and gain the skill to build a well-rounded and transformative practice for your students. Yeah? This way, I want you to break free from thinking all of those things. I wish that my sequences were more inspiring, or they lack imagination. I always teach the same. I wish I knew how to theme the class, or I want to teach more than just the asanas. You can break free from that, right? You can break free by developing yourself more. And that's why on the Teach Yoga and English journey, we dive deep into this to help you improve your sequences as a whole. So, apart from vocabulary and speaking practices, on the journey, we dive deep into the art of building an effective sequence. And it's the 5th module, so that's in month 3 from the top of my head. I teach you how to build an arc structured sequence. And that we do through sequencing blocks or asana blocks that you can use again and again, like little bits of a puzzle, without feeling repetitive. Yeah, so you can use the same things again, but do not feel like, oh, I'm teaching the same thing and I think it will be boring. The common thought as well. Yeah, this way you will end up with a sequencing bank, lots of different sequences for yourself, so that you always feel prepared to teach and you have option to choose from, so that you can adapt your students to your classes, to your students' needs on the spot. So that you, for example, you have prepared a really dynamic flow, but you get into the room and you see all your students are a little bit low on energy, and they much more benefit from a practice that helps them to ground down, to feel more connected to themselves, that you can change that on the spot, reading the room, reading the energy that your students come to class with. So you will also learn how to theme your classes and add a personal touch to them, such as music playlist, a guided relaxation, a meditation practice, so that you feel confident, not only cueing in English, but also confident about the way that you shape your classes. So this is what you will learn on the Teach Yoga and English journey. But today, in this training here, I'm gonna share with you some of the key elements, principles that you should consider for building an all-inclusive sequence. So, if you haven't already, bring pen and paper, or take some pen and paper, bring your journals, take notes, because this way you'll be able to revise all your existing sequences or start creating new ones, feeling a little bit more confident, but definitely organized. So you know what to include, what to consider. Yeah, so take pen and paper with you. If you have questions, write them in the comments here on Facebook or on Instagram. I'm here to answer your questions in the meantime. And let's dive in. There are a few things that we need to know. First of all, important note, because we have teachers from all types of backgrounds, what is important to know is that depending on the type of yoga that you teach, there's a different approach in the way that you structure your sequences. Yeah, let me explain. If you teach yin, for example, a yin sequence does not have the same warm-up or the heating elements of a dynamic yoga class. Yeah, in yin, we focus on stretching and compressing the deeper tissues to move more freely, opening up the fascia, which make that the positions that we practice in yin are held for a longer duration of time. For the sequence, that means that there are fewer asanas involved. Yeah, so another example, if you teach Ashtanga or power or Bikram, and sometimes we call it hot yoga right now, you use set sequences. And these set sequences are already designed for you. And they always include the same asanas in the same order. Now, styles like Hatha or Vinyasa, they offer more flexibility. And in the way that you structure them, or you put your sequences and your asanas together. So here, you can experiment a lot more with the asanas that you want to include. And you can choose asanas that you practice yourself. And I do recommend that because you want to teach what you know. Or use the asanas that you love and that your students will benefit from. And you can add themes, you can add intentions, anything that you want to teach. There's a lot more room for experimentation, for creativity, and creating sequences on your own terms. But it's important to know that difference. So depending on the style of yoga, your approach to sequencing looks a little bit different. So, the elements that I want to teach you about or to speak about today are useful for all types of, I call them creative sequences. So those are the sequences that you create from scratch. Yeah, they are not done for you already. And to create a well-rounded yoga sequence that targets all the muscle groups, that leaves your students feeling balanced, and it also balances strength, flexibility, mobility, relaxation, consider incorporating the following principles. I'm going to take you through 6 things that you need to know about. Principle number 1, questions everyone, write them in the chat. Yeah, keep them coming. And if you haven't said hi yet, say hi, introduce yourselves as well. So principle number 1, what you need to know, very first thing, are the directions of movement. Directions of movement. What are they? What are the directions of movement? If you know the answer, I see that we have previous students here. So you know this for sure because I've taught you on the journey already. Write that in the chat. So the principle 1, directions of movement, I'm speaking about rotation, flexion, extension, lateral movements. One of my teachers, or it's not officially my teacher, but a teacher that I love to work with, and you may have seen him with us on Instagram in our interviews, Jeremy Devons, he once said, as a teacher, you're a GPS with a heart. You take your students from point A to point B with clear and effective directions, but still speaking in a compassionate way and adding your personal expression, so it's not as robotic as a GPS. Now, this specifically refers to cueing, but to cue your students effectively from point A to point B, we need to know about the directions of movement. So if you want to be your students' GPS, you need an understanding of the directions of movement. It's like having a compass for your students or for your yoga sequences. So this involves knowing how the body moves through the planes of movement, right? Forward fold, backward bends, twists, side bends, or you remember from your yoga teacher training, the extension, flexion, rotation, external, lateral movements. There's lots of directions that we can speak about. In the journey, I will take you through this, but having this knowledge helps you to create a well-balanced sequence with transitions that feel logical and intuitive, so that your students can move flowly, that's not a word, but they can flow through your practices without having to look at you or feel really awkward in the way that they move from one asana to the other. So, directions of movement. Why is this important? Number 1, it ensures that you target all the muscle groups, leaving your students feeling more balanced after the class. It also informs you on how to move safely, preventing them from injury or straining a body part. It also allows you to craft a sequence that flows, providing flow and harmony in your classes or the experience. And you can tailor your sequence to your students' needs, whether it's the flexibility they want to work on, mobility, strength, or balance. The directions of movement allows you to incorporate all of these elements in a very intuitive and logical way. So principle number 1, what you need to know are the directions of movement. Principle number 2, the effect and the benefits of asanas individually or asana groups. So the effects and the benefits of asanas individually and asana groups. Every yoga asana has unique benefits and unique effects on not only the body, but also the mind and a person's energy level. So understanding these effects and the benefits empowers you to select positions that align with your class's goal, with your intention, with the purpose, whether you want to offer relaxation, an energizing sequence, or a grounding one, or a practice focused on strengthening or stretching a certain body part or a certain muscle group. We need to know if any of those things is your intention or purpose of the class, which asanas can actually help you get there, right? So why principle 2, the effects and the benefits of the asanas is important, is that you can create purposeful sequences that suits your students' individual needs. Yeah, and it enhances your ability to guide your students toward that desired outcome. So it's maybe the outcome that your students come to class with, but also the outcome that you have, the intention that you have for this class. And it adds depth to your teaching. And when there's depth to your teaching, your classes are much more meaningful and impactful. Yeah? What is the difference of backward and backbending? This is a language question. Basically, backward is a preposition that we use to indicate a direction. So we can bend backward. Backbending is the verb. So we bend our back, or backbending, which is not something I would use in a yoga class, but I will teach you that on the journey. But it's basically the language used that's the difference. Yeah, I hope that answers your question quickly. But more on that on the journey. So, principle number 2, the effects and the benefits of asanas individually and asana groups to ensure that you can reach the outcome that your students come to class with, the purpose or the intention that you teach with or for. Principle number 3, and this is especially if you teach hatha and vinyasa or any dynamic flow class that has heating elements to it. Principle number 3 is choose a peak. Choose a peak of your for your sequence. And this depends a little bit on the style of style of yoga that you teach. And depending on the style of yoga that you teach, in yin, you can still add a peak pose. So the asana that is usually the most challenging one of the whole sequence. But your peak pose in a yin class will be very different from a peak pose in vinyasa. Yeah, so bear in mind the style of yoga that you teach. But your peak is often the most challenging, or it requires the most effort from your students. The asana in that specific sequence. It's the climax, right? The climax of that your students work throughout while you're practicing. Imagine you've got an arc. An arc is a little bow like this. Yes, so you're warming up, you're taking them on the pathway to peak. Then they get to the peak, you integrate the peak, and you slowly cool down to get into savasana. Your peak pose is the climax of the class. The choice of your peak pose should align with the style of yoga that you teach. So remember those differences between yin, vinyasa, hatha, ashtanga, power, bikram, kundalini, restorative yoga. All these styles are different, yeah? But why it's important that you have a peak pose is that it gives you a very clear focus and purpose. If your peak pose is camel, you need to warm up, strengthen and stabilize certain muscle groups to make that peak pose accessible to your students. If you start with your camel at the beginning of your class, your students might not actually be prepared to get into this shape. Yeah, so it gives your class a focus and a purpose to work towards. Students also feel a sense of achievement when they reach a peak pose, because throughout your warm-up and the pathway of your peak, you have prepared them to successfully enter that position. And they feel like, hey, I'm actually capable and this feels easy. And it might not feel so easy if you haven't taken them on that journey before that. Yeah? And it provides you structure and direction for the completion of your sequence as well. Because after your warm-up, pathway to peak, asana and exploration, do we go straight to savasana from there? I don't think so. We need to integrate and cool down as well. So it gives you a really clear structure to form or to shape your sequences as a whole. Yeah, so principle number 3, choose a peak pose. Principle number 4 is add a theme or intention. Add a theme or an intention. So themes and intentions in your classes, they add depth and meaning. Themes can be anything. The options here are limitless and countless. On the Teach Yoga and English Journey, I give you a list of over 100 different themes to choose from, because I love using themes and I think they really help you to offer an experience that goes beyond a physical workout. As yoga teachers, we're not teaching gym practices or gym workouts, we're offering an experience, right? And you can do that by adding themes and intentions to your sequences. Now, to give you an idea, themes can be any type of yogic concept. The studies that you have learned about in the Yamas and Niyamas, the Yoga Sutra, the Bhagavad Gita, or other conscious elements or concepts like gratitude, self-compassion, finding balance. It can also be an intention that guides your students to develop themselves a little bit more on a spiritual, an emotional, or a mental aspect, right? So why I think it's important to add a theme or intention is that it creates a more holistic experience, addressing also the mind, the heart, and your emotions, not just the body. Yeah, students can also connect to themselves and the practice on a much deeper level, finding it way more fulfilling and also really understanding the difference between a physical workout and practicing yoga. And they get a chance to develop their self-awareness, check in with their mindset, check in with the way that they react to things in their lives. And really just check in with their existence on all different planes or all different levels, much further beyond the physicality of what they practice on the mat. So themes and intentions, I believe, offer a holistic experience and make your classes unique, memorable, and truly transformative. So, principle number 4, add a theme or intention. Number 5 is follow the arc structure. And I spoke about this a little bit already. So, an arc is this little bow, and you can have a single arc, you can have a double arc, you can have multiple arcs. You can have a very gradual arc, an easier one, or not an easier, excuse me. It's a more stable one. The arc of your class is what they call the journey. It's a flow from start, point A, to point B, from start to finish. And it should feel natural, guiding your students through this warm-up, your pathway to peak, your peak exploration, integration of the peak, all the way to the cool down and savasana. So there's different stages within that sequence. And you can think of this as a story. You're telling your students a story through movement. And one of the examples that I speak about in our journey, the Teach Yoga and English Journey, is Mark Stevens. I love how he has written this, because he describes this arc as a trek. A trek is another word for a hike or for a long walk through the wilderness, or going up and going down a mountain. So you're taking your students up and down a mountain through a story in movement, adding a theme and intention, but really offering this well-balanced, logical, intuitive flow that includes all the energy lines, and also challenges your students not just on the physical level, but also mentally and emotionally. So why it's important to follow this arc structure, it's that it ensures gradual and safe progression, starting with simpler asanas, followed by more challenging ones, even more challenging ones if you want to, and slowing down again. Students this way will maintain much more engaged because they're on a journey right now and they're going through different phases. And an arc also creates a sense of completeness, leaving your students feeling balanced and satisfied after they finish your sequence. So follow the arc structure. Principle number 6 is to make it your own. Make it your own, everyone. Stop copying other teachers. As a yoga teacher, your authenticity and your style are your superpowers. Those are the things that make you stand out and what your students love about you. Now, copying other teachers is logical because we need to get our inspiration from somewhere, right? We were not born as yoga teachers. These are skills and it's knowledge that you gain over time. But skills and knowledge is one thing. We need this time to practice, develop them and embody them. And once you embody them, you can actually use them being your authentic self. So it's crucial to develop your personal expression and as the way that you cue and communicate with your students, but also let your personality and your unique approach shine through in your sequences. So your personal touch is what makes your classes even more memorable and distinct. And it's usually what your students come back for time and time and time again. So why adding a personal touch is important is that it sets you apart from all other teachers out there, making your classes personal and also causing your students to come back time and time again, because you can adjust your classes to your students in that time too. And students will connect to your authenticity and your teaching style. And it's a way for them and a way for you together to build strong and profound student-teacher relationships. And it allows you to share your passion and love for yoga in the way that you want to. The things that you love to teach, the things that inspire you and excite you, that you're passionate about and you can't stop speaking about. Your intentions, your phrases, your metaphors, your music playlist, but there's much more that you can add to add your personal touch. But what I think is most important is that you break free from blindly copying what other teachers do and really develop your personal expression. So incorporating all of these elements into your sequencing skills do not only enhance your teaching, but it also brings a lot of depth, a lot of richness, and it offers a holistic experience for your students. And it enables you to guide your students on a transformative journey that fosters confidence for you, confidence in them too, and lots of connection with yourself personally, with your students, and for your students individually. So let me know, do you have questions about this? The principles of sequencing. I'm going to quickly summarize for you, for the people that joined a little bit later. If you weren't here from the beginning, go and watch it again, because I think it'll be very useful for you to not only reflect, but also take the sequences that you already have and optimize or refine them, or start creating your own sequences, bearing in mind all of these principles. So number 1, bear in mind the directions of movement. Number 2, bear in mind the effects and the benefits of asanas individually or asana groups. Then choose a peak pose. Number 4, add a theme or intention. Number 5, follow the arc. Yeah, make it a journey. And principle 6, make it your own. Add your authenticity and your personal expression. So I think that by now, especially if you've joined a few of these live sessions before, if you joined us for the English for Yoga Teachers mini course last week, or if you've been following us on the podcast, the Your Yoga and English podcast, you know that my mission right now is crystal clear, that I'm here to help you to teach with total confidence. But teaching with total confidence goes much further than learning the right words, learning the right cues, and effective communication. Yeah. Now, Laura, some examples. You're already enrolled in the bundle, so I'm going to send you a link after this session to find that list of themes. Yeah, so you can find it on the online learning platform. But themes, for example, could be gratitude, it could be self-compassion, it could be a reflection on one of the yamas and niyamas, it could be something related to Buddhism, a concept in Buddhism. It could also be something related to grief. Yeah, themes that happen in our lives that you want your students to either work through, reflect on, or develop in. Yeah? Okay, but on the platform you will find a whole list of themes that you can use. So going back to where I was, what did I say? Yes, so your confidence as a yoga teacher, yes, starts with language and communication, but after that it really is all about embodying not just your authentic expression, but also your teaching skills. Now, some of the teachers that joined our last Teach Yoga and English journey, they were really surprised with all that they learned, because they expected an English for yoga course. But in reality, I really don't think it's that. And they also said it's much more than that. Because the journey, the Teach Yoga and English journey, isn't designed just focused on English alone. It's focused on developing your authenticity and feeling 100% capable of leading effective classes. Therefore, you will also learn to improve your sequences, all of the things I just spoke to you about, and your ability to adjust your classes to your students' needs on the spot. So it might be you have prepared something, your students don't feel like it. What do? You have to be prepared with other things that you can apply and teach to them on the spot. So the journey is an all-round continuing education program to help you improve your English vocabulary, of course, your cueing skills, of course, but also your overall teaching techniques and your career development. Because once you feel confident using all these language terms and applying all your teaching techniques, what are you actually going to do? Where are you going to teach? And what does that career look like for you? So all of that is included in the Teach Yoga and English journey. And I want to invite you that if you're looking for a way to enhance all of this and make your teaching more profound, more meaningful for your students, to check it out for yourself and excuse me, and to see if this is something that you are ready for to do right now. So the program, you will learn and you will practice using all the words that you need to express yourself appropriately and authentically. You will learn and practice using advanced teaching vocabulary to alter your communication to your students' needs. You will practice and learn you will mostly practice all your knowledge, all your skills to fully embody and own your teacher identity. Instructional sentences, right? But also inclusive and creative cues, using metaphors, for example, or a language for imagination. Obviously, you will practice your sequencing techniques, and I will teach you how to create asana blocks to make your classes more personal, but also logical and intuitive. There's lots of themes that you can practice with to add creativity to your classes and a personal touch. and all the tools to make your classes accessible so that you can welcome students from all backgrounds, no matter their experience with practicing yoga and no matter the language that they speak. Yeah, so it's accessibility in terms of your teaching techniques and your language and communication. And I don't hope, I know, I know, because I've proved of myself going through this journey, but all the other teachers that have already completed it, that this way you let go of intimidation and comparison and embrace yourself fully and see other teachers as inspiration or as equals. Yeah, I'm here to help you overcome all the obstacles that stop you from pursuing your international career or the dream that you have for yourself teaching worldwide. So if you haven't already, go and check out the Teach Yoga and English Journey. You can enroll still until the 1st of October because that's when we start. If you enroll before Sunday, the 24th of September, I'm giving you a free one-on-one, so one private with me coaching session, so that you can discuss all your personal challenges, you can improve your pronunciation, I can have a look at your future plans and give you a structure to take action in the direction of your ideal career. Session is completely focused on you and it's added to the private intake and follow-up sessions. You've got 3 private sessions with me. So we really get the chance to go super deep and help you with all your personal challenges apart from the group meetings. And you can use it anytime, before the program, during or after, whenever you want to. So this is added to the intensive and the semi-intensive program. So if you decide to join before the 24th of September, so that's Sunday, it's a bonus added to your total package because you get a lot of different things included in this journey. Mario says, I love this creative part of sequencing. You give us so much to explore, Annie. It's a great adventure. Oh, Mario, thank you so much. And thank you so much for being here. And you've done amazing. You've really made my promise true. And you're a massive, massive proof of developing this authenticity and completely teaching on your terms, feeling yourself on the mat in front of a group of your students. So everybody, go and check out the journey. One thing that I want to emphasize, and if anyone has questions, write them in the comments, please, so I can answer them while I'm still here with you. One thing that I want to emphasize, because I received quite a few emails after we opened enrollment on, well, a few weeks back, but officially on Saturday, about, is this the right time for me, or will you repeat this course in the future? And we will repeat it, but it will not be the same format. Yeah, it will not be in this type of group setting anymore. Now, remember that this course offers a lot of flexibility to meet your study needs, because you get access to 7 self-paced modules to go at your own pace. And we do have live meetings that include script audits. So we look at your scripts and improve them in a group setting so you can learn with and from each other. We've got asana labs, yeah, to optimize your knowledge of the benefits and the effect of the asanas. Teaching practices to practice all that you learn to develop yourself. Conversation classes, community meetups, Q&A sessions. All of that to hold you accountable and to support you making progress. But is this the right time? And I think this question is because we are busy, and everyone is busy, right? But everything is recorded. So if you can't attend live, you can watch, revise and complete all the materials on the platform in your own time. Once you enroll, You have lifelong access to everything, all the materials, but also my support, because there is no deadline on finishing the course. Because I honor your time and I understand we live in different time zones, we have different responsibilities, so I don't believe there's such a thing as falling behind. You're never in a rush because there's no deadline. And everything is recorded, so you can watch, revise, and complete everything in your own time. So, if you still have doubts, or if you still have questions, send me an email, because on Friday, this coming Friday, the 22nd, I'll be back here on Instagram and on Facebook for a Q&A session about the journey. And we can answer everything there too. So go check out the program. Enroll if you know that you're ready already. And if you have questions, write to me so I can answer them in our Q&A session on Friday. I'm in Orlando and I just finished my 200. Well done! Well done, congratulations. In what style did you do your yoga teacher training? Anyone else? Do you have questions about anything? I'm still here right now. It's a gold mine, Mario says. Mario, thank you so much for your support. And I love that phrase, it's a gold mine. We had another student a couple of years back, she said, it's Disneyland for yoga teachers. Vinyasa, really, really nice. Well done, congratulations. Let me know about your future plans. What is it that you want to do now that you've become a yoga teacher? What do you want, where most of all do you want to teach? And who to? So everybody, go check out the Teach Yoga and English Journey if you haven't already. If you have questions, write them to me so I can answer them in the Q&A session on Friday. And remember, enroll before Sunday, the 24th of September, so that you can get a free added one-on-one coaching session with me. You can use any time in the program. So that's 3 meetings to really dive deep and offer and to receive some personal guidance with me anytime that you want. I can imagine, lovely. I'm in Spanish, so it was hard to learn in English. Send me an email, because maybe I can help you with some starting resources. Or if you want to profound your knowledge, if you want to know that you want to dive deeper as well, go and check out the journey too. Because I think it's a really, really great benefit to your yoga teacher training. Actually, the way that I describe it is that the journey is your yoga teacher training 2.0, because we will practice, develop all of those little bits of pieces of knowledge and information that you received, but actually make it your own now. So it's the next version, and that's why it's a continuing education program, and why you receive continuing education hours as well. For those that are registered with Yoga Alliance, you can register 50 continuing education hours to your registration there and continue your education that way. So, like I said, everyone, questions, send them to me. Enroll before Sunday to make use of the bonus. And I look forward to seeing you on Friday for our live Q&A, where I answer all of your questions about the Teach Yoga and English journey. Thank you so much for being here, for staying all the way till the end. Sending you lots and lots of love. And I can't wait to connect with you very soon again. Goodbye, everyone.